I know exactly what keeps you up at night. The Department of Defense from the United States just confirmed that we have aliens among us. Is the happening priced in? Is there anything happening with Bitcoin and Schnorr signatures? Is this the end of the pandemic? Are we finally going to go out? I have no idea what to say, but I can reply to your weekly Q&A and let you know what I have been writing on the Bitcoin Takeover website in the last week. So, yeah, it's all here, and I have lots of great news. And I want to begin with the fact that on the 1st of May 2020, I will launch season 6. Is it 5 or 6? It's season 5, sorry, 6 episodes of season 5 of the Bitcoin Takeover podcast. And it's going to be 6 episodes with unique guests. The topic is Bitcoin security, so you gotta check it out when it comes out. It's gonna be on iTunes, it's gonna be on Spotify. I'm gonna make sure I put it on YouTube so you have no excuse to not find it and to not listen to it when it's out. Now, I gotta let you know what I have been writing on the Bitcoin Takeover website before I move on and answer your questions. And the first article that I wrote since I did the last Q&A is the one about Atlas from Colombia, who has tweeted to American Huddle and let him know that he's hustling and he's trying really hard to accumulate 1 Bitcoin. And this community movement has basically made him a full coiner, which is impressive. Congratulations to everyone who has donated. I know I have given 20,000 Satoshis to this cause, but that's nothing. Other people have given enough for him to become a full coiner, and Trezor has offered to give him a hardware wallet, so he's going to be able to store that 1 BTC securely. So that's huge. That's something that our community should do more often, and that's something that whales should consider for the sake of passing on the wealth and making sure that more people hold 1 full BTC. That can actually make a huge difference in somebody's life. Now, another article that I wrote is called Bitcoin and 11 Pokemons. And even though that sounds controversial and childish, the more you look at it, you're going to figure out that actually Pokemon and Bitcoin have a lot in common. They both have founders named Satoshi. They both rely on networks, and Bitcoin is about the internet, while, Pokemon, the first game, is based on the Game Boy, and you had a cable which you're connecting to another Game Boy, and you could transfer Pokemon from one device to the other. So that was still a virtual currency that kids were using in the 90s, and kids who grew watching Pokemon possibly had an easier time understanding how Bitcoin works. So that's why I wrote this article, and you can find it on Bitcoin Takeover. You're going to find it in the description below. And also, it's important to share this with no coiners who are fans of Pokemon but otherwise have no idea how Bitcoin works, because it can be educational. You have no idea what kind of impact this can make in other people's lives. And also, I have written an article about the launch of the second generation Cobo Vault, which is a hardware wallet that's now much more affordable. If you listen to season 4, I think it's episode 8 or 9, I had Lexin Liu from Cobo Vault. He is the founder and the creator of this hardware wallet. And at the time, he only had one product that was for miners in China. And it was resistant to all the physical hazards to make sure that it endures and it fulfills all the needs of miners who otherwise have to deal with rain, with bad weather all the time, and need a device that's sturdy enough. But that whole technology has been put into something that's much more consumer friendly. And now you can get the Cobo Vault second generation for $99 or $149 for the Pro version, which comes with a fingerprint sensor. And I think it also comes with a battery that's rechargeable. Actually, that's the selling point of this device, is that you can use AAA batteries that are cheap, are easy to find, and this guarantees that just like the Game Boy in your drawer, you're going to be able to use this in 10 years without any problem. You don't have to rely on the manufacturer to keep on producing lithium batteries, because that's what this is about. It's not like your phone that's going to be obsolete in like 4 years and it's not going to work anymore. So that's admirable. Read the article, check it out. There's a lot to unpack about that, but I want to move on to your questions. And the first question that I have from you is from Simone Butera, who wants to know who is John Galt. And the answer must take at least 9 hours, and he checked the audiobook's length. I have no idea. So honestly, I don't know. So that's my answer. Now, Satoshi on Venezuela wants to know which is the cheapest way to run a full node. That's a very good question. And the cheapest way is to just use your computer or your Android phone. That's all you need. If you have a computer that has access to the internet, that's much more than you actually need. You don't need to buy a new device. You don't need to buy a $300 Casa node or Nodal or whatever. You just make sure that you have enough storage. Let's say right now you need 300 gigabytes for the whole blockchain, but you can just buy an external HDD, a hard drive, and you connect that to your computer and that's it. Or you can just run a pruned node. So let's say you just download 5 gigabytes of the blockchain and it gets replaced all the time with new blocks. That can also work. It's convenient for you to check the transactions that are incoming, but I guess it's better to run a full node. So if you have 300 gigabytes of storage, you can just do it on your local computer. No need to purchase another device. If you want to do it on your phone, there is AB Core that's developed by Lawrence Nahum, and that works on any Android device. So consider that you have the device to run a full node. There's no need, unless you're doing something more sophisticated, like running a full Lightning node and running a BTC server payments processor. There's no need to have a separate device which handles your node. So yeah, that's it. And also from Satoshi in Venezuela, he wants to know, why do people involved in Bitcoin projects need to fight daily? Well, I think there are two reasons. One of them has to do with communication and the nature of Twitter, and the fact that you can only write 280 characters per tweet, and people can easily misinterpret. And also, there is no way for us to check every day what the other one is doing. So if we see something that we don't like, we're going to call them out. And this leads to reason number two, which states that we all have the best of intentions, and sometimes this leads to a brutal honesty that may qualify us as being toxic. So I guess that's it. All of us have very good intentions, but we're not sure about everybody else's intentions. So we end up fighting, we end up arguing, but there is always some sort of mediator or middle ground that we find, and we figure out that we're not really that bad. Nobody's really that evil, unless of course there are people who promote bad products and have bad wallets that dox you and get, your expubs and your public key so they can associate with your identity. They get it and then they claim that it's a private wallet. And there are lots of bad actors, and it's useful to call them out. We should call them out. It's in the spirit of the open source community and open source software to do it, and we should always do it. So I hope that this answers your question. It's all a matter of intentions, and it's the fact that most of us are pure at heart, and we have come into this space and this game with the best of intentions and expectations that we sometimes project onto others. Now, these are all the questions, and I was hoping that I would get more, but for next week, when I want to do another one of these Q&As, I expect you to come up with the smartest, most difficult and elaborate of questions so that my brain explodes on camera, because there is no way for me to be that smart to answer your question. But if you just want to ask me something simple, I will not deny it. I will not reject it. Maybe I don't know who John Galt is, but I will do my best to answer some other sort of question on which I'm much more informed. So thank you very much for listening to this. I hope you're going to check out the Bitcoin Takeover podcast. when it gets launched on the 1st of May 2020. It's going to be on Spotify, it's going to be on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they call it these days. So check it out, give it a listen. I guarantee you that I have some of the best guests that I could find, and you're going to get lots of useful insights. Two of the guests are from Venezuela, and they're going to explain to you what it's like to live there and not have proper internet infrastructure for something that's natively on the internet. And another guest is from Hungary, and another one is from Las Vegas. One I think is from Germany. I mean, there is a lot to learn and to unpack from these recordings, and I don't want to spoil your experience, but I think it's going to be great and it's going to be informative, and you can find out lots of great stuff from these recordings. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.